Unseen talent revealed, the incredible cleaner's dance transformed a millionaire's life forever. In the heart of bustling Des Moines, Iowa, an unexpected legend was born one late-night shift. Jake, a 35-year-old cleaning worker, didn't just scrub floors. He transformed lives, starting with his own. Alone with his bubbling 8-year-old daughter Mia, he toiled in the shadows, turning office buildings into pristine havens while dreaming of dance classes and vacations they could only find in the movies. One night, while cleaning the slick conference room of a wealthy businessman named Mr. Carter, music spilled through the air, rhythmic and vibrant. Before he knew it, Jake was swaying. His feet found a pulse on that polished floor. In that moment, he was not just a cleaner but an artist. He let loose, twirling and spinning like he was made of joy. When Mr. Carter walked in, ready to scold, his eyes widened instead. Instead of laughter, there was wonder. Jake felt a rush. Could this be his ticket to a life he longed for? With heart pounding, he remembered his fears, the laughter of friends about the dancing dad, the whispering judgment from neighbors. Mia believed in him more than anyone, but even she hesitated when her classmates teased. It rocked their bond, making Jake question everything. If he took this leap, what would it mean for Mia, for them? Their bedtime talks, filled with whispers of dreams, felt heavy with doubt. That confrontation came one evening. "Why can't you just be normal, Dad?" Mia's eyes were wide, full of innocence and anxiety. It cut deep. Reality twisted like a knife, and Jake's heart sank. "I'm just trying to show you it's okay to chase what makes you happy," he replied, desperation coating each word. Their exchange revealed unspoken fears. Both had learned to protect one another through sacrifice. Yet, they were caught in a storm, Mia wrestling with shame for him and Jake drowning in guilt for even dreaming. But deep down, the pulse of dance never faded. The next day, Jake felt the urge shoot through him like fireworks. He challenged himself, driven by both love and the need to reclaim their bond. Before he could think twice, he signed up for the local dance competition. The stakes had never been higher. Days passed and the competition loomed like a freight train bearing down, the fear and excitement sparking inside Jake's chest. He needed to push past the whispers of the past and unlock the beauty within his dance. Underneath the bright lights, Jake imagined a moment where he would prove to his daughter and himself that dreams are worth the risk. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue with competition night. Just moments away, Jake felt the world shrink around him. With Mia perched in the audience, he took a deep breath, smoothed his shirt, and walked towards his destiny. As the music thrummed and the crowd hushed, he found himself on that stage, ready to share not just a dance, but his heart. Little did he know, it wasn't just about him. Mr. Carter, watching from backstage, felt a shift in the air, a stirring realization of what true passion could bring. This moment was destined to connect worlds, challenging everything they thought they knew about talent, courage, and community. The performance began, and their lives would never be the same. Would Jake's dance break through barriers or would it crumble under the weight of doubt? The music began to swell, reverberating through Jake's chest like a heartbeat. Each note flowed around him, weaving a tapestry of sound that felt almost sacred. He took one last look at Mia, sitting wide-eyed among the crowd, her little fingers gripping the armrests of her chair. Her gaze was a blend of worry and hope, and Jake couldn't help but smile back. He stepped into the spotlight, the harsh lights igniting his figure against the dark backdrop. The audience went silent, their anticipation a palpable tension in the air. With a deep breath, he let the music wash over him, each beat calling him to dance like nobody was watching. As he moved, the world began to blur. Jake felt an electric rush, igniting his limbs as he spun and twisted, pouring his heart into every movement. He was no longer a father burdened by doubt, he was a dancer, a spirit free to express every untold story. His body found rhythm and grace, gliding across the stage. He made a daring leap, twisting through the air, and in that moment, he felt limitless. The crowd erupted in cheers, the sound washing over him like a warm tide. It fueled his passion, pushing him to give more of himself, to share his laughter, fears, and dreams. But behind that roar of approval, he could hear the whispers of doubt, the echoes of a childhood filled with expectations. Was this fleeting joy really enough? What if it all came crashing down? He forced those thoughts aside, focusing instead on Mia's smile. That little beacon of light pushed him onward, banishing the shadows of uncertainty. As the performance reached its climax, Jake channeled every drop of emotion he had. He envisioned the struggles, the sacrifices they both had made, and the bond that tied them together. With each step, he painted their story a narrative of love, resilience, and the pursuit of happiness. And then, he broke free from the choreography, merging spontaneity with planned moves. He pulled off a series of intricate spins, feeling the floor beneath his feet a solid reminder of the journey that had led him here. This was no longer just about winning a competition, it was a declaration of his right to dream, a promise to Mia that they would chase joy together, no matter what hurdles came their way. In those final moments, he locked eyes with Mr. Carter, whose mouth hung slightly open in surprise and admiration. Jake saw the businessman lean forward, intrigued, and a shared understanding sparked between them, one that transcended wealth, talent, and societal expectations. As the last notes faded into the air and he struck a final pose, silence enveloped the theater before it exploded into thunderous applause. Jake's chest swelled with relief and pride. It felt like warmth cascading over him, refreshing and overwhelming. But before he could catch his breath, he caught a glimpse of Mia, who was now standing, tears shimmering in her eyes. She erupted into cheers, her tiny voice drowning out the rest. "That was amazing, Dad." Jake rushed to the edge of the stage, leaning down to meet her gaze. "Did you like it?" His voice was shaky, laced with vulnerability. "Yes," she yelled, pure joy radiating from her. Her words became a lifeline, a reminder of why he had danced. But as the applause faded, and reality began to settle back in, questions loomed. How would their lives adjust after tonight? Would his moment of glory change everything, or create new challenges? Just then, Mr. Carter took a step forward, eyes lit with the spark of opportunity. "Jake, we need to talk about this. There's something you might not expect," and with those words, the stakes shifted once again. Jake stepped down from the stage, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. The silence that had followed his performance felt like a lifetime, but now the applause thrummed in his ears like a distant heartbeat. He scanned the crowd, his heart pounding not just from the exertion of dancing, but from the uncertainty hanging in the air. Mia rushed up to him, her little hands pulling at his waist as she jumped up and down. "Dad, you were the best. I swear, I've never seen you move like that." Her eyes sparkled, and in that moment, all doubts faded. She was his anchor. "Thanks, kiddo," Jake said, ruffling her hair. "You think I can keep it up for the rest of the show?" "Absolutely. Can I dance with you next time?" She beamed, her innocence a comforting balm against the impending reality waiting just outside the theater. As he knelt down to her level, Mr. Carter approached, his expression serious but animated. "Jake, can we have a word? This is really important." He gestured away from the bustling crowd, and Jake's stomach twisted into knots. "Sure, what's up?" Jake replied, attempting to keep his voice steady. The pair moved slightly away, near the theater's dimly lit entrance. "What I saw out there tonight is extraordinary," Mr. Carter began, his tone more intense now. "You have a real gift. I know you might just see yourself as a cleaner who dances, but I see potential for something much bigger." Jake raised an eyebrow, skepticism creeping in. What do you mean? I'm in the business of finding talent, Jake. People who break the mold and make the world see things differently. You could reach beyond what you believe you're capable of. Mr. Carter paused, gauging Jake's reaction. I want to talk about opportunities. Think about it, you could compete at higher levels, even get sponsorships. Why not take the leap? Jake's mind raced. This was what he had secretly dreamed about, yet it felt surreal. I have Mia to think about. It's not just me anymore. Exactly, Mr. Carter responded, leaning in closer. If you harness your talent, you can provide her with a better future. Isn't that worth the risk? Jake's heart sank. The thought of putting Mia through another whirlwind of change, good or bad, made his stomach twist. Mia, he mumbled under his breath, taking a glance back at his daughter who had momentarily captured the attention of some nearby friends. She looked so carefree, dancing on the spot, lost in her own world. What does she want? Mr. Carter asked softly, as if he could see the dilemma swirling inside Jake's mind. You're her role model. She'll take cues from what you choose. Show her how to pursue dreams, how to fight for them. Jake swallowed hard. The weight of the decision bore down upon him. He longed for something greater yet feared the possibility of dragging Mia into a life of uncertainty. Let me think about it, Jake replied finally, hesitant yet intrigued. Of course, Mr. Carter said, his eyes lighting with encouragement. You have time, but don't wait too long. Opportunities like this have a way of slipping through your fingers. As they returned to the bustling lobby, Jake's heart pounded with possibilities and fear. What if embracing this chance led them into tumultuous waters? But what if it also led to a world of wonders? Mia's laughter cut through his thoughts, and Jake couldn't help but smile. She was his joy, his anchor in both calm and stormy seas. Now, he had to decide. What kind of future did he want to create for them? And as he met Mr. Carter's gaze, exhilaration mixed with dread. He realized it wasn't just about him anymore, it was about them building a life where dreams could flourish. But just then, the theater doors swung open wide, and a hush fell over the crowd as someone unexpected stepped inside, the air thick with uncertainty again. Who could this be? What would their appearance mean for Jake's choice? Jake squinted into the light streaming from the theater entrance, the expectant silence wrapping around him like a thick fog. The stranger who stepped inside was tall and dressed in an impeccable tailored suit, an imposing contrast to the vibrant atmosphere filled with laughter and excitement. His piercing gaze scanned the room, locking onto Jake just a heartbeat later. Mia, still on her toes, tugged at her father's shirt. Dad, who is that? I'm not sure, sweetie, Jake replied, trying to keep his voice calm. With every step the man took towards him, the crowd stirred and whispered. Jake noticed the way many cast members and spectators exchanged glances, as if recognizing something remarkable about the newcomer. He felt a knot tighten in his chest. Jake Palmer, the man said, his voice smooth and knowing as he approached. I'm Ethan Wells. He extended a hand, and Jake took it, feeling both the warmth and the pressure of that handshake. Pleasure, Jake managed, his heart racing. There's a rumor that you've got something special on that stage, Ethan continued, his eyes glinting with enthusiasm. But I didn't come here just to see a show. I've been waiting for a moment like this, a moment to find a dancer who can truly stand out. What do you mean? Jake asked, his mind reeling. Jake, I've seen people with talent, with fire, but you? You have a rawness that feels real. It's refreshing. Ethan leaned closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. I'm always on the lookout for someone who can bring a new perspective to the art of dance. I can help you reach that potential, help you get recognized. Jake swallowed hard. This was everything he had been dreaming about but didn't think possible. You mean what, exactly? I can connect you with agents, sponsors, creative teams. We can craft a package that showcases who you are and where you come from. You could be performing on bigger stages, making a name for yourself. The thrill of the offer sent his mind racing. But the thought of asking Mia to uproot once again clawed at him. It's not just me. I've got my daughter to think about. I get it, Ethan nodded, showing an understanding that felt rare. But think about how your success can inspire her. This isn't just about dance, Jake. It's about life, about showing her the value of chasing dreams. Mia looked up at him, her innocent gaze searching for answers and reassurance. Could he really do this? We all have moments that define us, Ethan continued, his voice rich with conviction. You have a chance to transform your life and Mia's. Are you ready to embrace it? In that silent battle of emotions, Jake felt both excitement and fear intertwine. The faces around him, the curiosity brimming in the air, it felt electric. He glanced back at Mia, dancing with abandon, seemingly unaware of the choices weighing on his heart. Jake wanted to be the example for her. To show that life could be more than just existing, to teach her how to stretch her wings and soar high, even if it scared him. But just as he opened his mouth to respond, a loud crash resonated from the backstage area, halting the moment in its tracks. A wave of panic spread through the crowd. What now? Jake muttered, instinctively gripping Mia's hand tighter. The commotion grew, a knot of concern sprang to life. Stay here, Mia, Jake instructed, confidence and fear battling within him. As he moved towards the disturbance, he could feel Ethan's presence behind him. Something told Jake that they were both teetering on the edge of a big change, and he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever lay ahead would shape not just him, but Mia too. What had just happened? And would he find the strength to embrace the opportunities, or would fear of change keep him locked in place? Though adrenaline coursed through him, he felt that every choice, every moment, was about to take a dramatic turn. Jake pushed through the throng of curious onlookers, heart pounding as the chaos escalated backstage. Each step felt heavier, charged with urgency. Whispers thickened in the air, mingling with the sounds of clattering equipment. Mia's small hand remained secure in his grip, her eyes wide with uncertainty. What's happening? She whispered as they squeezed between two crew members. I don't know, sweet girl, but stay close, Jake replied, his voice steady, even though his insides were churning. He felt Ethan's presence right behind him, a ghost of opportunity trailing close, yet easily overshadowed by the anxiety in the air. Finally, he reached the backstage entrance, but the sight that greeted him turned his stomach. A stack of heavy stage props lay scattered across the floor. A young dancer lay on the ground, clutching his ankle, the source of the crash. Can someone get help? A woman shouted, her voice slicing through the crowd's murmurs. We need ice. Jake's instinct kicked in. Without a second thought, he stepped forward, kneeling beside the injured dancer. Hey, buddy, I'm Jake. You alright? The dancer grimaced, forcing a shaky smile. Just twisted it, I think. But I'm supposed to dance in the finale. A pang of empathy pierced Jake's heart. He recognized that look, passion helplessly colliding with misfortune. We'll get you sorted. Don't worry, he said, keeping his tone light. He could feel Mia shift anxiously beside him, her small fingers squeezing tighter around his. Just then, Ethan joined them, observing with a keen eye. He needs immediate attention. We can't lose him for the show. What do we do? Jake asked, glancing at Ethan, who radiated a confidence that offered a thread of hope. We can carry him to the side stage. There's an ice pack there, and I'll call for a med team. Ethan wasted no time rallying a couple of other dancers nearby. As they worked quickly to help the injured dancer, Jake's thoughts spiraled. This moment, the urgency, the ability to leap into action felt all too familiar. It was a reflection of his own struggles, of his desire to rise despite setbacks. Mia, he said softly, turning to her as they carefully lifted the dancer. This is part of why we dance. To support each other. It's not just about the spotlight. She nodded, but her expression was still a tangle of confusion and concern. But that means he can't perform. What if he is hurt? Jake took a deep breath. Sometimes, Mia, it's about putting others first. Dance isn't only about the performance, it's about the connections we make, the way we lift each other up. A moment later, they transported the dancer to the side stage, where they laid him down gently. Ice wrapped tightly around his ankle kept swelling at bay. Ethan acted fast, calling for a volunteer to ensure everything was managed. The crowd began to calm, but Jake sensed something pivotal just beneath the surface of this chaotic moment. As the injured dancer thanked them, a shift took place, a realization that bound them all together in this journey of pursuing dreams through dance, regardless of the cracks they might encounter. Then it hit him. Ethan, if I take the stage, I could give this crowd something to remember further down the line, give this kid something to inspire him. Ethan's eyes lit with excitement. Now you're talking. But you'd need to adjust some choreography. Whatever it takes, Jake affirmed, the fire of possibility igniting in him. Let us do this. Mia looked up, her eyes reflecting a mixture of pride and awe. As adrenaline surged through Jake, he felt a convergence of dreams and fears. This is what he needed. Not just for himself, but to show Mia the power of resilience and unity. Yet, deep down, uncertainty stirred. Could he really perform in such a critical moment? Before he could analyze it further, the stage manager called for everyone to settle down. The show was about to start again, but now Jake stood at a crossroads of destiny, a chance to shine while lifting others along with him. Get ready, Mia, Jake breathed, heart racing at the chance that lay ahead. And just as he stepped into the bright lights of the stage, a thought burrowed into his mind. Would he be able to transform this moment of chaos into something breathtaking? Or would it end before he even had a chance to soar? The spotlight cast a warm glow over Jake as he found his place on the stage. The chatter of the audience drifted away, replaced by a heavy silence that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. He could sense Mia's eyes on him, filled with a blend of support and uncertainty. This was it. This was the moment that could change everything. He shook his nerves off, focusing on the music that began to waft through the air. The rhythm pulsed through him, and he let it ignite a fire deep within. Each beat felt like a heartbeat, his heartbeat, the heartbeat of everyone who had ever had a dream. With the first movement, he stepped forward, pouring every ounce of his emotion into the dance. He began with simple, robust movements, channeling strength and resilience. As he twirled, the memories of his struggles flooded in, the rehearsals, the setbacks, even the laughter shared with friends and the warmth of support from Mia. As he danced, he crashed through the walls of self-doubt. He was not just performing, Jake was communicating, sharing a story that resonated with every person watching. This young dancer wanted to shine so brightly that even the injured boy backstage could see it. Each leap felt like a promise that setbacks didn't define a person. But just as the choreography began to flow, Jake noticed a flicker of distraction among the crew watching from the wings. His heart sank for a split second as he caught sight of the injured dancer, now sitting on a stool, propped up on crutches, eyes locked onto Jake with an intensity that ignited something even deeper within him. With renewed vigor, Jake turned his final reserves into a flourish of movement, a series of spins and jumps that spoke to the human spirit's finesse. The crowd began to respond, a ripple of appreciation echoing through the theater as they absorbed the passion emanating from his performance. And then, in the corner of his eye, he saw Mia. Her face lit up, her smile wide and proud. In that moment, everything else faded away, it was just Jake, the music, and the feelings spilling forth in a vibrant display of life. He could feel their collective hope lifting him, a wave pushing him upwards, reminding him of why he danced. As the dance reached its climax, Jake landed in a final pose, breathless and spent, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The applause erupted like thunder, crashing over him with a wave of affirmation. And there, amidst the roars and claps, Jake's gaze locked with the injured danceress. In that instant, they shared a connection, an unspoken understanding of dreams intertwined, worthiness despite obstacles. Jake realized he was not just performing for the audience, but for everyone who ever felt uncertain in their journey, everyone who fought through the shadows to discover their own light. But as he basked in the applause, a fleeting thought haunted him. There was still a crack in the moment, a lingering doubt that whispered of expectations yet to be met. Did he only dance for this moment, or was his journey just beginning? As the lights began to dim, Jake's heart raced again, not from the thrill of performance but from the uncertainty of what lay beyond this triumph. He could sense the energy in the air shifting, a new possibility lingering. "Mia," he said, turning to her as the audience began to calm, "what if this was just the start? What happens next?" Her eyes sparkled with excitement and curiosity, fueling an inkling of hope in his heart. Could he truly harness this moment and transform it into something greater? As he stepped off the stage, a new question loomed in the air, heavier than before. Was he ready for what came after this shining moment? Would he take the plunge into a future filled with further challenges and deeper connections? Jake stepped off the stage, the applause still echoing in his ears. His heart raced, not only from the exhilaration of the performance but from the depth of the uncertainty that loomed ahead. The world around him began to take shape again as the audience filtered out, some still buzzing with excitement, others lost in their own thoughts. Mia met him backstage, her arms wide open. She enveloped him in a hug, and he felt the warmth of her pride radiate through the fabric of their clothes. "You were amazing. I've never seen you dance like that," she exclaimed, pulling back to look into his eyes. Her enthusiasm was infectious, yet Jake could feel a knot of anxiety forming in the pit of his stomach. "Thanks, Mia," he managed, forcing a smile, but the weight of his thoughts pressed heavily upon him. "What's wrong?" she asked, concern flickering across her face. "This should be the best moment of your life." "I know," he replied, running a hand through his hair. "It's just what now? Did I just dance for a night, or can I turn this moment into something bigger?" Mia's brow furrowed slightly. "Jake, you've already done something huge. People don't just forget performances like that. This could open doors for you." The fire in her gaze pushed back against his anxiety, igniting a twinge of hope. But the shadows of doubt still whispered in his mind. Was he ready to step into a world full of bigger expectations, to chase things he hadn't even dared to imagine yet? Suddenly, they were interrupted by a bustling sound from the wings. The injured dancer, still on crutches, approached. Jake recognized him as Tyler, someone who had always been friendly, but they never shared more than a few glances across the studio. "Hey, Jake. That was incredible," Tyler said, his voice filled with admiration. "I saw the way you poured everything into that performance. It was awe-inspiring." Jake felt a mix of pride and guilt forming in his chest. "Thanks, Tyler. I hope you're doing okay," he replied, glancing at the crutches as they bobbed slightly. "Better now, thanks to your dance," Tyler smiled faintly. "You made me feel like I could overcome anything. I used to feel that fire, you know. Watching you, I remembered why we all started dancing in the first place." The sincerity in his voice struck Jake deeply. Here was someone who understood the struggle but had been sidelined by fate. Jake longed to inspire Tyler just as Mia inspired him. "Maybe we could help each other?" Jake said hesitantly, surprised by his own suggestion. "I mean, I'll need support, and you've been through so much." Tyler nodded slowly, light flickering in his eyes. "I'd like that. Let us keep that fire alive, even if we're in different places." Jake felt a surge of energy at the thought. It wasn't just about the performance anymore. This was about connection. About building a community that could support each other through the highs and lows. Mia's excited voice cut through his thoughts. "Jake, what if we could find a way to get your dance out there more? We could organize something." In that instant, all the excitement and hope collided with the lingering doubts. What if they didn't have what it took? What if the challenges ahead were bigger than they anticipated? Jake didn't know, but the flutter of anticipation pushed back against the fear. "Let us do it," he said suddenly, determination infusing his words. "Let us make something happen." As they began to brainstorm, an entirely new possibility unfurled before him, waving ever so enticingly. But amid the excitement, the question hung in the air: would they be ready to face all that came next, or would the journey demand more than they ever imagined? Jake could feel it. A tidal wave of change was about to crash down on him, and he was ready to ride it. What would this leap into the unknown reveal, and would he embrace the roller coaster ahead? The next morning felt surreal. Sunlight streamed through Jake's window, casting warm rays on the tangled sheets of his bed. He lay there, staring at the ceiling, thoughts swirling. The echoes of applause still danced in his ears, but now they mingled with the questions that flooded in. How would they promote his dance? Where would they even start? The buzz from last night lingered like the sweet scent of blooming flowers. He could almost hear Mia's laughter, her eagerness a palpable force. But contrasting that warmth was the tightening grip of anxiety. He wrestled with a haunting thought: what if this was all just a fleeting moment? After a quick shower, Jake grabbed a cup of coffee and plopped down on the couch. He had to make some moves, but what? The idea of organizing a showcase was brilliant, yet daunting. The itches of uncertainty crept back in. What if no one showed up? What if all his efforts were in vain? Just then, his phone buzzed, interrupting the storm of his thoughts. It was a message from Mia. "Hey. I've been networking like a total boss. Let us meet up later. We have so much to discuss." Her enthusiasm tinged the air like a fresh breeze. Jake smiled faintly and texted back, "Can't wait. Let us do this." He took a moment to breathe. Being a part of something bigger felt thrilling, yet terrifying. As the afternoon sun painted everything in gold, Jake met Mia at the local coffee shop. The place was alive, filled with laughter and the sound of cups clinking. Mia was already there, her eyes shining as she waved him over. "Okay, I talked to some people," she said excitedly, whipping out her phone. "A few friends in the dance community want to help. We can have an open dance night. Everyone can showcase their talent." Jake felt a spark ignite in his chest. "That sounds incredible. But, how do we get the word out?" "We can use social media, flyers, talk to local studios." She began listing options, her voice pulsing with energy. "But I think grassroots is key. Let us make it feel personal." Jake nodded, the idea starting to feel more tangible. "What if we made it a charity event? We could donate proceeds to support dancers in need, like Tyler." The thought of combining their passion with purpose made his heart race faster. Mia's eyes lit up. "That's brilliant. It'll resonate more with people." They chatted for hours, mapping out ideas and tossing around names for the event. "We need something catchy, something that draws people in," Mia mused. "Dance of Hope?" Jake suggested. Mia grinned wider. "I love it. It's perfect." After their brainstorming session, Jake's earlier apprehensions began to fade. With Mia by his side, he felt ready to turn those dreams into reality. But then, a wave of doubt washed over him. Would anyone care enough to join? Would the community rally around them, or would they fall flat? As they left the coffee shop, Jake's heart thudded with both excitement and fear. He wanted to believe they were on the cusp of something beautiful. But deep inside, the uncertainty lurked like a shadow. "Let us get working on those flyers," Mia said, glancing at him. "This is just the beginning, Jake." He nodded, determination flooding him again. "Right. We need to share our fire." Together, they set out to illuminate their vision, unaware of the storm brewing just beneath the surface of their optimism. Would they be able to ignite their community's passion, or would they stumble along the way? With every step, Jake could feel the ground shifting beneath him, ready to take him on a path he never expected. What challenges lay ahead, and would he be willing to face them head-on? The following days unfolded like a whirlwind. With the sun nodding farewell each evening, Jake and Mia became a familiar sight at the coffee shop. They pored over flyers, refining the design until it sparkled like a diamond. Ideas bounced off the walls: bright colors, bold letters, a tagline that tugged at the heartstrings. "Dance for a cause," Mia would exclaim, her eyes sparkling with the same enthusiasm that had lit the fire in Jake's chest. But beneath the rush of creativity, that persistent anxiety nagged at Jake. They were brainstorming like champs, but could they genuinely pull this off? The question hung heavy in his mind, wearing away the joy he felt during their planning. One sunny afternoon, as they stood outside the coffee shop, Jake felt a bead of sweat trickle down his back. What if we don't get enough people? What if it's just us on that stage? He blurted out. Mia placed a hand on his shoulder, grounding him. "Listen, Jake. We're putting ourselves out there, and that's what counts. Even if just a handful of people show up, it's a start. We'll grow from there." Her unwavering confidence was like a balm against his worries. So they pressed on. As flyers danced into the world, excitement began bubbling up in the community. They received texts, calls, people reaching out, wanting to join, asking who they could bring along. Jake felt a shift. Maybe they could inspire more than just a handful. Maybe they could build something real. On the last night of preparation, Jake and Mia met at the community center. The aroma of fresh paint lingered in the air. They wanted the place to shine, a stage that felt welcoming, a hub of creativity ready to embrace every dancer. "Doesn't it feel different now?" Mia twirled, her movements a reflection of her spirit and the energy crackling around them. Jake smiled, caught up in her joy. "Yeah. It feels alive." But behind that joy, a sliver of doubt emerged. What if their energy didn't translate? What if all these precursors led to an empty room, and they were left standing before a quiet hall, hearts thumping loud enough to echo the disappointment? "Jake, are you okay?" Mia asked, noticing the flicker of concern across his face. He took a breath, heart racing. What if we're not good enough? What if no one cares about our cause? Her gaze softened. "We are enough. This event is about connections. It's not just about dance, it's about hope, support, and igniting passion. We're not empty promises, we're purpose." Feeling her words sink into him, Jake nodded, allowing himself to embrace the direction they were heading. They were building something important. But deep down, the fear still lingered, the what-ifs hovering in the shadows like ghostly reminders. As the night drew on, they finalized their plans, both elated and anxious. Jake glanced at Mia, invigorated by her strength. "Whatever happens tomorrow, I know we've given it our all," he said quietly. Mia grinned, her eyes sparkling brighter than any star. "And that's more than enough to change lives, Jake. Trust in the journey." The next morning arrived, draped in a blanket of nervous energy. Jake's heart raced like a drum. Would people come? Would they find a spark among the crowd? As he stood behind the curtain, nerves tangled with excitement, an unexpected figure caught his eye, a familiar face, one he didn't expect. His breath caught. Could this moment lead to something more than just a dance showcase? The crowd began to fill, and the air buzzed with anticipation. With every face in the seats, Jake's heart thumped louder. What had he just stepped into? In that electric moment, he whispered to himself, "This is just the beginning." The first bright rays of the sun burst through the windows as Jake stepped onto the community center stage. His heart raced, a mixture of nervous excitement coursing through him. Behind him, Mia stood near the entrance, waving enthusiastically to draw in the crowd. He could see people trickling in, a kaleidoscope of familiar faces filling the seats, each one sparking a flicker of hope in his heart. The energy in the room felt electric. Jake glanced at the makeshift banner they had crafted, reading Dance of Hope in vibrant colors. Their vision was alive. A few of the familiar dancers Jake knew from the studio began to gather backstage, exchanging smiles of encouragement. They were all there to support one another and celebrate the connections formed through their shared passion. As the lights dimmed, a warm spotlight fell upon Jake. He took a deep breath, letting the moment settle in. This was no longer just about him, it was about the community, the shared struggles, and the dreams that connected them all. The audience's eyes were upon him, filled with anticipation and support. "Welcome to Dance of Hope," he called out, his voice steady despite the twilight of unease still dancing within him. "Tonight, we're not just here to showcase talent. We're here to support each other, to remind ourselves that dreams can flourish, even when we stumble." Cheers erupted from the crowd, lifting him higher. As he began to move, the music swelled around him, wrapping him in a blanket of encouragement. This was his chance to share the heartbeat of his journey, the struggles, the moments of doubt, and the triumph of stepping into the light. Jake danced with abandon, pouring every aspect of his story into each movement. He remembered Mia's laughter, the warmth of her hugs, and the sweet moments they shared even in the darkest of times. With every spin and leap, he released his fears into the music, transforming them into a breathtaking display of resilience that resonated within the hearts of everyone watching. And then he noticed Tyler, the injured dancer, standing backstage with his crutches. His eyes sparkled with hope and admiration. Jake felt invigorated, a reminder that they were all connected in this beautiful tapestry of art and heart. He finished with a flourish, landing in a pose that felt powerful yet vulnerable. The crowd erupted into applause, filling the room with encouragement and acceptance that washed over him like a warm wave. Above the applause, he locked eyes with Mia, who was now standing, clapping, her melodic laughter ringing through the milieu. As the performance continued featuring other talented dancers, Jake saw their community thrive together. It was beautiful, a dance party of hope and connection bringing everyone closer, a true celebration of dreams ignited. Each performance echoing the spirit of daring to fight for what mattered, reviving the pulse of creativity all around. Finally, it was time to wrap up the evening. As Mia took the stage beside him, her eyes shined with the light of 1,000 stars. "Thank you all for coming tonight. We're just getting started," she called out, her voice dancing with excitement. "Can we all promise to keep supporting each other? Because we can help each other soar." And in that moment, Jake felt a shift happen within him. It wasn't just about chasing dreams anymore, it was about fostering a community that would lift everyone up, a place where vulnerability and strength coexisted. Their small event, filled with heart and spirit, was just the beginning of what they could create together. As the night wound down, people began to mingle. Jake found himself surrounded by dancers exchanging numbers and promises to meet again, excitement buzzing in the air like fireflies at dusk. "Jake!" Ethan Wells appeared through the crowd, a bright smile on his face. "You dazzled tonight." People left their troubles at the door and walked right into joy. Jake felt a sense of relief wash over him. "Thanks, Ethan. It was all just a leap into the unknown." "I think you found your place," Ethan said, eyes gleaming. Everyone felt it. "Let us keep that momentum going. I want to help you expand this, reach more folks, and take this to the next level." "Really?" Jake's heart skipped a beat, knowing this could open doors beyond their wildest dreams. "Yeah, let us make it happen," Ethan replied. Mia jumped in, bouncing on her toes. "Can we sponsor charity events? Support dancers like Tyler? It's like spreading hope everywhere." Jake's heart soared. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was about a community transforming through the power of art and support, a family they could foster together. As the night faded, Mia turned to Jake. "We did it, didn't we? We took the leap." "Yes, Kiddo, he replied, beaming with pride. And this is only the beginning. With courage replacing doubt, and hope embraced like an old friend, Jake looked at Mia and felt ready. Together, they would navigate dreams, face uncertainty, and dazzle the world with love and resilience. The stage of life awaited. And outside the venue, the night hummed with possibilities, a reminder that each dance, each leap, and every moment could change everything. The world was bright, waiting for their next performance of hope. Now was their time to shine. Don't wait another moment. You need to subscribe now to our channel to follow this incredible journey. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button because it feeds the algorithm and helps us grow. We want to hear from you. Share your reactions and feelings about tonight in the comments, and don't forget to share instantly this video with 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us spread the magic and inspiration.